In a shocking twist that has the NFL world buzzing, the Cleveland Browns may be on the verge of dumping a quarterback, just weeks after drafting Shedeur Sanders. Yes, you heard that right. The Browns' quarterback room is overflowing with talent, tension, and tough decisions. With just a few months before the season kicks off, all signs point to one surprising casualty, and the name might just raise your eyebrows. Is Kenny Pickett already on his way out? The Cleveland Browns have thrown the NFL into a whirlwind once again. After selecting former Colorado star Shedeur Sanders and Oklahoma standout Dillon Gabriel in this year's draft, all eyes turned to how the team would balance a now crowded quarterback room. What seemed like strategic depth building may soon evolve into a roster shakeup that could see one notable name cut or traded before the dust even settles. Shedeur Sanders, who once carried first-round projections before slipping to the fifth, now finds himself listed as the fourth-string quarterback. But that title doesn't begin to capture the buzz he's generated during the team's offseason practices. He's slotted behind Super Bowl-winning veteran Joe Flacco, the newly acquired Kenny Pickett, and the highly touted rookie Dillon Gabriel, drafted 2 rounds earlier than Sanders. Yet, despite the crowded depth chart, insiders are saying that Sanders is already turning heads. Over the last couple of weeks, the Browns quarterback quartet Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, and Sanders have shared the practice field, finally giving coaches and analysts a live glimpse into the battle brewing behind the scenes. Sanders has reportedly made the most of his limited snaps, showing poise, accuracy, and that signature Sanders swagger. And the more he shines, the more pressure builds on the others, especially Pickett. Kenny Pickett, a former first-round pick, arrived in Cleveland just months ago via trade. At the time, the Browns likely didn't anticipate investing 2 additional draft picks in quarterbacks. Pickett was supposed to be the security blanket, a solid insurance policy behind Flacco and Watson, but that plan seems to have shifted rapidly. Now with 4 quarterbacks under contract and most teams only carrying 2 or 3 into the season, Cleveland's hand may be forced, and the odd man out appears to be Pickett. NFL insider Mike Florio didn't mince words when he said, "I think they're going to trade Kenny Pickett." Florio clarified that this isn't based on inside information, but rather his analysis of how the puzzle pieces are fitting together or not. Flacco remains a fan favorite. Sanders is the exciting prospect with immense upside. Gabriel cost a 3rd-round pick. And Pickett? He's now a redundancy they didn't plan for. Gabriel and Pickett both face struggles at OTAs, but Gabriel holds the edge in team investment. The Browns used a higher pick on him, and that commitment carries weight. Sanders, on the other hand, was seen as a potential first-rounder before his draft stock plummeted. That fall may turn out to be Cleveland's gain. If he continues to impress, there's little doubt he'll rise quickly up the depth chart. Deshaun Watson, Cleveland's starting quarterback for the past 3 years, is expected to miss most of the upcoming season with an Achilles injury. That development, rather than creating clarity, has made the quarterback race even more intriguing. While Watson's absence opens up reps, it also forces the Browns to quickly identify who their short-term leader and future franchise quarterback might be. And that brings us back to Pickett. His presence once made sense, but the future now seems to belong to Sanders and Gabriel. The Browns may have no choice but to let go of Pickett, either via trade or outright release, sooner than anyone expected. The team's quarterback room has gone from thin to overflowing in a matter of weeks. Now a hard decision looms, and all signs point to a bold, surprising move that could send Pickett packing. So what happens next in this high-stakes quarterback drama? Will Kenny Pickett find himself wearing a new jersey before preseason even begins? Can Shedeur Sanders leap from 4th string to franchise face in a single offseason? And what role will Dillon Gabriel play in this increasingly intense competition? The Browns are on the clock not just for game day, but for critical decisions that could shape the franchise for years to come. The heart of the Cleveland Browns has just walked out the door. Nick Chubb, the engine of hope, the quiet warrior, the man who defined resilience, won't be wearing brown and orange anymore. And this isn't just about a player leaving. It's a mirror reflecting the harsh truth of where the Browns stand today. This is more than a transaction. It's the symbolic end of an era. Buckle in, because we're diving into why Chubb's departure means so much more than anyone expected. Nick Chubb is reportedly set to sign with the Houston Texans, officially closing the chapter on an unforgettable 8-year journey with the Cleveland Browns. This isn't just a story about a running back finding a new team. This is the final sentence in a long and emotional novel written with grit, bruises, and unmatched loyalty. At 29 years old, Chubb's departure isn't just about age or injuries. It's about what his presence meant for a city, a fan base, and an organization struggling to find its footing. Trying to sum up Nick Chubb's impact on Cleveland in just one moment feels impossible. Since the Browns returned to the NFL landscape and won 999, no one has quite embodied the soul of this franchise like Chubb. Players came and went. Some made noise, others faded quietly, but Chubb became a symbol. Not just of excellence, but of what it truly means to be a Brown. Sure, there were legends. Joe Thomas stood tall through dark times. Josh Gordon had flashes of brilliance. Joe Hayden, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Baker Mayfield, and Myles Garrett all gave the fans reasons to cheer. But none captured the raw emotion and respect of this city the way Chubb did. It all began in 2018. The Georgia product wasted no time putting the league on notice. By Week 7, he had claimed the starting job. But even before that, in Week 4 against the Raiders, he exploded with a jaw-dropping 105 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 3 carries. It was the kind of moment fans never forget. That performance forced the team's hand, trading veteran Carlos Hyde a little over 2 weeks later. Then came Week 10, a 92-yard touchdown against the Falcons that shattered franchise records and left fans in disbelief. Chubb didn't just play football, he carved memories into the minds of every person who wore orange and brown. His rookie year, he missed 1,000 rushing yards by just 4. But those 8 touchdowns were a loud and clear introduction. The following year, he nearly reached 1,500 yards while sharing the backfield with Kareem Hunt, who was suspended for the first 8 games. Together, they formed one of the most effective duos in the NFL. Chubb didn't just perform, he thrived, delivering 4 straight seasons with over 1,000 yards, including a career-best 1,525 in 2022. And he couldn't have arrived at a better time. The Browns were still trying to recover from the humiliation of a 1-31 stretch across 2016 and 2017. Chubb gave fans a reason to believe again. That belief became reality in 2020, when the team snapped a 17-year playoff drought with a wildcard victory that Browns fans still replay in their minds. That 48-37 road win in Pittsburgh, Chubb scored the game-sealing touchdown. But his greatness wasn't only measured in stats or explosive plays. Chubb's demeanor, quiet, hardworking, humble, resonated with the soul of Cleveland. In a city where nothing is handed out and everything must be earned, he didn't talk. He showed up, worked, and delivered. His mantra wasn't just an Instagram caption, it was who he was. His determination was on full display when he attempted to return from a brutal knee injury in Week 2 of the 2023 season. That one devastating hit by Minkah Fitzpatrick altered his journey and set the wheels in motion for what we're seeing now, Nick Chubb in a different jersey. For the Browns front office, led by Andrew Berry, this is business. Cold, calculated, necessary. After Chubb's comeback was cut short by a broken foot, the franchise found itself unsure of whether the beloved back could return to form. Pair that with a tight financial picture, and the team couldn't justify a lucrative contract to keep him. Berry had dropped subtle hints all offseason. He spoke openly at the Combine about letting Chubb test the market. The draft added 2 new rookie running backs, and though Berry never outright closed the door on Chubb's return, his comments about the changing complexion of the RB room said enough. When Jerome Ford restructured his contract to stay with the team, it felt like the final puzzle piece falling into place. The writing had been on the wall, but that doesn't mean fans were ready for it. Jimmy Haslam and the Browns' leadership have admitted they're in a transitional phase. Haslam even said they were digging out of the Deshaun Watson trade disaster, but actions speak louder than words. Drafting 2 running backs and 2 quarterbacks made one thing clear. This team is rebuilding, whether they say the word or not. That's why Chubb's departure hurts so deeply. It's not just about losing a legendary player, it's about accepting the truth. The era of promise, the era of potential, the era of dreaming big with Nick Chubb in the backfield, it's over. The team is shifting, and the emotional cornerstone of the Browns' identity is moving on. This isn't just a roster change. It's a gut-punch reminder of how fragile success can be and how even the most beloved heroes can be casualties of a rebuild. Nick Chubb leaving Cleveland paints a brutally honest portrait of where the Browns stand in between what was and what they hope will be. So now as Nick Chubb prepares to put on a new uniform, Browns fans are left with memories, some glorious, some painful, but all unforgettable. His departure is the closing chapter of a story filled with perseverance, loyalty, and unmatched heart. And though the jersey will change, the legend of Nick Chubb in Cleveland will never fade. The quarterback room in Cleveland is heating up like never before. While the spotlight has often hovered over big names like Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, and Kenny Pickett, it's a fifth-round rookie, yes, a rookie who's suddenly making waves and stealing the show. Could it really be Shedeur Sanders? Is he already the best quarterback on the Browns roster? You're about to find out how one surprising name is turning heads at training camp and shaking up everything we thought we knew about the Cleveland Browns quarterback battle. Shedeur Sanders, the former Colorado Buffaloes sensation, didn't arrive in Cleveland with the fanfare of a top draft pick, but what he's done since stepping onto the practice field has left everyone, fans, coaches, and insiders, talking. He's part of a quarterback group that includes seasoned NFL veterans like Joe Flacco and Deshaun Watson, along with fellow young guns Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett. Despite being selected in the fifth round of the draft, Sanders is already emerging as the potential frontrunner, according to early reports from Browns OTAs. One on-the-ground source present at the Browns' offseason training activities claimed Sanders has flat-out looked like the best quarterback on the field. Yes, the best. Not the most promising, not the most surprising, just the best. Even Cleveland sports show host Tony Rizzo couldn't hold back the excitement when he revealed he got a text from an ESPN Cleveland employee saying Shedeur looked like the best quarterback in camp. That's no small praise, considering the experience and accolades sitting around him in that locker room. Over the past few weeks, Shedeur has been sharing reps with Dillon Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and Joe Flacco. The only name absent from these reps has been Deshaun Watson, who's still recovering from a torn Achilles suffered last season. Watson's timeline remains uncertain, and the door seems wide open for someone else to claim the throne. And Sanders, he's making a serious case. Now the question everyone is asking, who will be the starting quarterback when the Browns kick off their season on September 7th against the Cincinnati Bengals? On paper, it seems unlikely a rookie, especially a fifth-round pick, would beat out the likes of Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett. Yet football isn't played on paper. If Shedeur continues to outshine his competition through training camp and the preseason, head coach Kevin Stefanski may be forced to rethink the hierarchy and give the rookie a shot under center in Week 1. Let's not forget, the Browns are coming off a brutal 3-14 season in 2024. This team is desperate for a fresh start, for energy, for hope. They used their third-round pick in the draft on Dillon Gabriel and picked Sanders in the fifth, clearly aiming to rebuild their quarterback room from the ground up. But would Stefanski really take the bold route and hand the keys to a rookie right out of the gate? Especially with Joe Flacco's postseason experience and Kenny Pickett's starting background? For longtime Browns fans, this conversation probably feels like déjà vu. Since their return to the league in 1999, Cleveland has had a revolving door at quarterback. 40 different players have started a game for the franchise since then. 40. Every few years, a new savior walks through the door. Sometimes it's a first-round pick like Baker Mayfield, who was taken first overall in 2018. And for a moment, it looked like the curse had been lifted. Mayfield brought the Browns to the playoffs, even beating their bitter rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, in the wild-card round. But injuries and inconsistency derailed his journey, and soon Cleveland moved on. Mayfield bounced around, first to Carolina, then to the Rams, and now he's found new life with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he's led them to multiple playoff appearances. While Baker has resurrected his career elsewhere, the Browns are still chasing their ever-elusive answer, under center. Now comes Shedeur Sanders, with poise, accuracy, and the kind of leadership presence you don't often see in a rookie. He isn't just making the routine plays. He's showing command of the offense, reading defenses with maturity, and outperforming veterans who have been in this league for years. If he keeps this up, the Browns might not have a choice. They might just have to roll the dice and let the rookie lead. So what's next for Shedeur Sanders? Could this underdog rise to become the Browns' starting quarterback this season? Is Cleveland finally about to break free from its quarterback curse? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, this kid is not here to sit on the bench. If you're a Browns fan, you better keep your eyes locked on number 14 because Shedeur might just be the spark this franchise has been searching for. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more Browns updates, and ring the bell so you never miss a moment of this wild quarterback saga. Let us know in the comments, should Shedeur Sanders start Week 1, or do the Browns need to lean on veteran experience? We'll see you next time right here, where football stories come alive.